There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.
Good morning and welcome to this Valley News Now weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. I'm meteorologist Lisa Green, and we're going to get into some details on what to expect as we are heading into the next 24 hours plus as our next system is approaching the valley, and we're talking about the potential for blizzard conditions in some areas. So want to get serious here and get to talking about this potential storm system. So let's first of all talk about how we have a first alert weather day here, and this is for tonight but mainly into Thursday. We're at that point as we get into Thursday, we're looking out for blizzard conditions possible, especially in the north where we're more likely to see the more significant snow with this event. Everywhere we'll deal with the wind though, especially along the entire Red River Valley and points west. We'll see some of our strongest gusts in that 50 to 60 plus mile per hour range. So that's something to really consider. At 58 miles per hour, that's a severe thunderstorm warning if it was a severe thunderstorm producing that kind of wind gust. So that gives you an idea of how destructive that can be as well. And again, blizzard conditions especially likely north of Highway 200. And again, that's simply because that's where we're looking at getting the greatest chance for several inches of snow. So here's a look at our latest alerts. We've got a winter storm watch in effect for tonight through Thursday afternoon, and we're looking out for blizzard potential essentially in this watch area. So that means places in the Northern Valley, and we'll remove the label there for just a second just so you can see all the counties. Northern Valley, and then right in the heart of the Southern Valley also, where the valley kind of does that funneling effect. So stronger wind speeds expected here. And we're also expecting to see some snow. So Fargo is included in the winter storm watch, and heading into Grand Forks as well. That's an area that's going to be seeing more snowfall. So winter storm watch again for areas in that kind of purpley blue color. And then farther south and west, wind alerts, because these are areas where less likely to see snow, but we'll still have the wind. So there's a high wind warning that takes effect tonight until Thursday through the Bismarck-Dickinson area, traveling along I-94 there. Also in our viewing area, Lemoore and Dickey counties here included. And then some of our counties, Brown in South Dakota, included in the warning. And then a wind advisory for the Sisseton Hills area as well. So again, these are areas where we're less likely to see snow and more likely to be impacted by the wind. Also over toward Alexandria under a wind advisory too. And there's that pink on the map to the west, already under a blizzard warning for places in northeastern Montana, the Glasgow area, the Plentywood area, those areas under a blizzard warning. That's an area where we're going to be impacted sooner because of the way the system's moving in from the west. So eventually we'll see more headlines, more alert headlines as we get closer to this system for us here in the valley. So I want to talk about our travel planner. We're going to be, kind of timing things out for you here. If you need to hit the road, today is going to be a low impact kind of day. There's still some areas where, we've got some wind. That's going to be a factor. Still some icy or slushy spots as our temperatures rise today, but overall lower impact. Tonight, this is when things start to change, and heading into Thursday morning as well. Tonight, we're going to see that rain move in the evening hours, turning over to a mix and eventually changing over to snow overnight. And the reason I have us going from green suddenly to red is because things could change pretty quickly with temperatures dropping. We're looking out for the potential for, some of that rain to, make for wet roads, and then see those roads get slick as temperatures drop. And then on top of that, that changeover to snow is going to happen. So this is through the overnight hours. So it'll get tougher through the overnight and into the morning as wind increases. Now Thursday morning, this is the highest impact time with this system. We're going to see that snow pushing north to south. So start time on the snow is going to be later for the Southern Valley, sooner for the Northern Valley, and it'll be heavier in the Northern Valley with intense wind, so blizzard conditions developing where that snow is falling with that wind, and hazardous travel as that's happening through the morning hours on Thursday. That continues into the afternoon, but as we go beyond in the afternoon, the snow will start moving on. The wind will take a little longer to come down, so we'll still have some blowing snow into Thursday night, but it'll start to get improved. Still, though, a high impact travel time as well. So that gives you an idea. We're going to break things down for you more coming up here, too, in just a moment. Here's a look at Grand Forks. I wanted to show you this camera because look at all that grass. It was all white before. We've seen so much melting yesterday. We warmed up so much, got to 48 in Grand Forks. We had wind gusts topping 60 miles per hour yesterday. It was a big day. And it wasn't snow. It was just wind and warm air moving in. So Grand Forks, we're going to get back to more white viewing conditions or white looking conditions as that snow comes down tonight and tomorrow. And then on the southern end of the valley, the Dakota Magic Casino Skycam showing some open ground too, where there's been some melting. And wind that is more southerly or southeasterly there. You can see it's strong again today, blowing those flags in the southern valley too. So let's look ahead into our wind speeds now. We've got some gusts getting into the 30s right now, 35 mile per hour gust in Fargo. Aberdeen's at 37, 32 in Jamestown. Again, wind out of the south or southeast. And gusts that are, going to be noticeable and impactful, but not as intense as what we'll see tomorrow, and not as intense as where we were yesterday. And temperatures are responding to that south wind. We're at 36 degrees in Oaks, 38 in Sisseton and in Devil's Lake, and more 20s north and east from there. And we'll continue to climb into the afternoon hours. So not as warm as yesterday, but still looking pretty mild here for us. Looking at our radar right now, I've got a wide view here as we're looking at the system developing and starting to work its way through Montana and then into the Dakotas as well. And we've got, a little boundary here that is lifting through that you can see some precip associated with it on the radar. And as we go through time, that will continue lifting northward, but that's not the main part of the system here. It's just introducing some clouds, and I can't rule out a few sprinkles up in the northern valley. I haven't seen any reports. I'm going to do a quick check and see if I see any more new reports coming in from that area. I haven't seen any reports of this reaching the surface. But still, if you're in Langdon, you might be seeing a few areas of drizzle or freezing drizzle or some flakes in that area. We're not getting a current report from Langdon, unfortunately. But Devil's Lake reporting mostly cloudy skies. Hallock is overcast and breezy with our latest report there. So again, not getting any reports there. I'm going to pull up our DOT maps. I'll let you follow along as I do that too on our website here. So pulling up our website on our weather page. Again, when you head to our homepage and then go to valleynewslive.com/weather, this will bring up that page for you. And we're looking at road conditions here, and we'll check North Dakota first. And it still looks green. That's great to see. I want to see that. That means that roads are seasonal or good. So that doesn't mean they're perfect, but for the season, they're doing okay. And then in Minnesota rather, you can see we're also in the green there too. So not seeing any evidence that this is reaching the ground, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening or isn't going to start happening. So if you're up along Langdon, the Cavalier County area, back over toward the we'll zoom in a little bit more, back over into Pembina County, into Kitson County. A lot of color right there, but along Highway 5. Cavalier in the purple, that is potential sleet or mixed precipitation. Pink is freezing rain, and blue means snow. So sometimes it gets detected aloft in the clouds, but the precipitation isn't necessarily reaching the ground. So we'll be keeping an eye on this here today. But right now things are pretty quiet. It's what's going on out to the west that I'm watching for later tonight. You can see that rain moving into Williston right now. So let's talk about our forecast here through the day today. We're going to continue warming things up. We'll see temperatures climbing into the mid to upper 30s for a lot of spots. For Fargo, we're looking at highs in the upper 30s. And then you can see around 6 o'clock, we've got a chance for some rain showers. And that's the first kind of signs. Well, the wind will be the first sign of this approaching system, but then the rain showers will be as well as this starts to move through heading into this evening. And over the course of the entire valley, you can see areas in 30s to some low 40s for highs today for most areas. So still mild, still an opportunity to get out and before it starts to freeze again, and conditions that are looking just rather windy here for the afternoon. But around this time into the evening hours, late afternoon and early evening, we may be seeing the rain approach our western viewing area at that point. Okay, so let's take a look at our hour-by-hour planner. We're watching, these little bits of precip showing up on the radar, and it's also showing in our model here as we're heading through the rest of the morning hours. That boundary lifts to the northeast, so if you're in Roseau, Baudette, Lake of the Woods area, you might want to keep an eye on things as this moves through for you. And then the rest of us, we've got areas where we've got breaks in the clouds, some sunshine, and temperatures that rise, again, heading into the afternoon. Wind gusts will potentially get to that 40+ mile per hour range, so keep that in mind as well. So here comes the rain. This is 4 p.m. So again, late afternoon, early evening, some of our communities in the northwest, Rolla, Harvey, moving into the Devil's Lake Basin may start to see rain showers at that point. This continues to roll eastward, heading into this evening. You can see that rain spreading into eastern North Dakota, Fargo, some places in northwest Minnesota. Meanwhile, I want to point out north of the border, all that blue. That's where the track of the heaviest snow will be with this system. However, there is still that potential that some of the heavier snow may dip south into the northern tier of our viewing area, into overnight and into tomorrow. And we'll all see that snow eventually move south, but what I mean by that is the steady snow, the snow even before we get into the wraparound snow with this system. So this is 11 o'clock tonight. We're still getting some spotty rain showers. As we work our way into the overnight hours, you can see the snow. Watch this area here as we go through time. That wraparound snow starts to push south, and then you can just kind of see a setup with this particular model of a band of snow that sets up in the northern valley and maybe even over to the east as that transition happens overnight. Our temperatures are dropping below freezing too, so there might be a little light layer of ice underneath the snow showers that are coming down heading into tomorrow morning with freeze up going on. And so moving on into the 8 o'clock hour, this is a good example of what we may be seeing in the morning hours. So you could see that there's kind of two parts of the valley, the northern half of the valley and then the southern half of the valley. And here's that Highway 200 corridor, that cutoff we've been talking about, where the blizzard conditions will be more likely north of there. And this is why we've got steady ongoing snow, even some pockets where there's maybe even a little heavier snowfall rates happening in the northern valley, northwest Minnesota. And so you combine the steady snow with these winds that are increasing. We've got a gust of 47 potentially around that 8 o'clock hour in Fargo. And so we're looking at that possibility for the visibility to really be low there. Meanwhile, in the south, it's more isolated snow. It's more just spotty areas. The wind is getting going, but the consistent snow that would really reduce our visibility, not quite there yet. So you may start your day thinking, okay, this is nothing, what's going on here? But that doesn't mean it's going to end up that way. So I'm going to show you what happens after 8. As we go through time here, we'll take the temperatures off because at this point we're below freezing. And so we'll just focus in on the snow shield moving through. By noon, we've got it rotating around the valley, and so it's moving its way. And you can see that heavier snow north of the border there. It's moving its way basically into the southern valley, and will have already been snowing at that point in places like Fargo. And that coincides with this, gusts into the 50s to 60 miles per hour across the valley here. So there are going to be places with ongoing blizzard conditions because of the snow that's falling, because of the few inches of snow we've already picked up, still getting picked up and blown around. And then there'll be some places where we get maybe an hour or two of whiteout conditions, and then it improves. And then other spots where it gets started late, but we're still dealing with blizzard type conditions through the course of several hours. A reminder, a blizzard by definition has to have low visibility with blowing snow for 3 hours or more. So that's just the way the definition works on what classifying something officially as a blizzard. That doesn't mean that we won't have an hour of blizzard-like conditions, whiteout conditions in a lot of areas. So something to keep in mind as the alerts start coming out with this system. And so again, looking at this sweeping through along with some strong winds during the noon hour, and then we continue into the 4 o'clock hour to see the wind on the strong side, though the snow is starting to end. It's ending in the west at that point. Eastern North Dakota may be done with snow at that point. And then still going in Minnesota, still windy though. You can see that gust again into that 50+ mile per hour range. So if we get fresh snow, that's still going to be blowing around, even though the snow is ending in a lot of spots. And then moving on into Thursday night, the snow is done. Still some wind, but it is coming down on Thursday night. And then that clears away, and then we're watching out for another system for Friday that we'll talk about, but really focused in on Thursday right now. So this is our snow potential forecast right now. There's a couple things I want to stress here, that we're looking at widespread areas of 1 to 3 inches of snow. So that is enough. You get 2 inches of snow, you add the wind to the mix, that's enough to create a blizzard. Some places are going to be lower than that. You can see areas in the south. Oops, I selected the wrong thing here. There we go. I wanted to use my pointer, not to move the view. Okay, so we have places in the south that we are looking at less than 1 inch of snow. So there will be some, blustery conditions at times. Visibility will drop, but it may not be that consistent whiteout that we'll be seeing more likely in the north. We're looking at 3 to 6 inches of snow for areas in the north, and 6+ north of the border that could dip south. And I do want to stress that there are some areas, some models that are indicating that heavier snow may move farther south. So I just want to give you that heads up that that's a possibility. Right now, we're holding with that 3 to 6 inch range in the Northern Valley. Grand Forks could dip into that 3 to 6 inch range as well. And watching out for the potential for, with the track of the low, if it tracks any farther south, that's going to introduce that heavier snow to the Northern Valley. So still looking at 1 to 3 widespread, and then north of Highway 2 especially 3 to 6+, with that little asterisk next to it for this system. So just want to communicate that uncertainty that still lies with this storm as we're looking ahead into the next 12 to 24 hours of this storm moving in. So again, looking at snowfall potential there, that'll be enough for the wind to work with to create blizzard conditions in areas. Let's take a look at some of our wind forecast here for tomorrow. I'm focused in on Jamestown. That's one of the areas under the high wind warning, and you could see we've got gusts that could be around 50 to 60, potentially 60+. Under the high wind warning, the language being used is 60 to 70 miles per hour. So that's something to remember as well. Even without snow, Jamestown will be one of those areas that doesn't see as much. Even without snow, that's a hazard to high-profile vehicles, to semis, especially empty semis, trailers, especially empty trailers. If you're hauling trailers, might want to avoid doing that tomorrow out on the roadways, especially if we get a coating of snow or ice. Makes for slick roads, and then a big gust of wind, and we've got problems with that. And then just loose items outside too, with winds exceeding 50 and 60 miles per hour for some of us. Those things can get blown around. So make sure if you've got some Christmas decorations out, you've got those secured. Make sure that you are securing any other loose items that might be out in your yard here heading into tomorrow. Not a good day tomorrow for it to be your trash day, we'll say that. So it is going to be windy. I will take a look at the overall wind gust planner here on the map. These numbers on the map, those are wind gusts again. So we're looking at 35 in Fargo today at 11. That is our gust that we're seeing here. Now let's move on into tonight or this afternoon. Still on the blustery side. Could see a couple of places getting into that 40 mile per hour range. Now I want to move into tonight. This is 10 o'clock, 10:30 to be exact. Still breezy, still blustery, but the real true intense wind isn't kicking in until more into the early morning hours tomorrow. This is 6 a.m. Check this out, 56 in Langdon, 60 mile per hour gust potential in Rolla at that point. So kind of going gangbusters on the potential for blowing snow and blizzard conditions there with the wind. And then that wind field continues to drive southward with the snow. And so by 9 a.m., we're looking at potential gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour in eastern North Dakota. Moving on into midday, getting close to the noon hour, we're looking at gusts that are getting into the 50s. And again, there's that 60 again on the map over by Valley City potentially. So some numbers that are going to be, pretty high, and an intense kind of wind day here for us during the day, regardless of the snow. But you add snow to the mix and it becomes a pretty big problem. And moving on into the afternoon, we're still windy. We're still at 5 p.m. seeing wind gusts in Fergus Falls that are closer to that 50 mile per hour mark, even though it is starting to ease up, showing signs of that up by Rolla. And then that wind field continues to transition eastward as the low goes on. So by the time we get into Thursday night, this is moving on and we're winding things down. Now, as we take a look at our planner heading into the nighttime hours, you can see that it's pretty much done by midnight, really coming down as we head into Friday morning. We get a brief break Friday, but you can see a new wind field's coming our way with the next system. So we'll talk more about that coming up. If you have travel plans on Friday, just know there's going to be some more light snow and some wind. So just some reminders here as we've got a couple of snow days, especially tomorrow's coming our way for winter travel safety. This is a good time to, if you had travel plans tomorrow, maybe rethink those. For the daytime hours with conditions that are going to be rather tough with the wind and the snow. If you must travel, make sure you're sharing your travel plans with someone. Let them know your route and when you plan to leave and when you plan to arrive. And that way, if you do not arrive when expected, people know where to go to look for you when it's safe to do so. Things to always keep in mind: have that full gas tank, have a charged cell phone, have that survival kit in your car in case you do get stranded. And if you do stay with your vehicle, especially during blizzards, you can get disoriented really easily and end up in some big trouble if you're going out to look for help. Even if you see a building, maybe it seems like it's only a half a football field away. Things can change between when you leave your car and when you get to that building. So just stay with your vehicle and stay informed throughout this time. Make sure you're checking back with us, your NOAA weather radio. They make travel radios that you could take with you in your vehicle to stay up to date, and just practice those safe driving precautions as we're looking at a winter storm that has the potential to bring blizzard conditions here for tomorrow on our first alert weather day. Big temperature drop yet again. We're looking at a high of 39 today. We're going to drop down to 14 by tomorrow morning, and then we just keep sliding from there. A high of, or I shouldn't say a high, afternoon temperature of about 1, and then those numbers continue to drop heading into Friday morning. We'll be below 0. That brief bout of snow again for Friday also kicks up some wind and a little bit of warming. We get back to about 20 on Friday afternoon, but once that system moves through, then we're looking at colder air taking over for the weekend. But what's really nice here, you see those suns there. We've got some mostly sunny skies, better travel weather. It's just going to be cold. Better weather for getting out and doing some Christmas shopping, heading out to events that you may have going on, heading into the weekend. So that's some good news that the weekend times out that way. Oh, and by the way, here's some good news. Winter solstice on Sunday. After Sunday, we gain daylight. So we start inching our way towards springtime. Even though I know we have a lot of winter left to go, but it's nice to see those daylight hours starting to go up again. And then Monday, Tuesday, a weak chance for some snow, but still a chance. And then as we move our way through Christmas week, you can see on Christmas Day, we're looking at temperatures that are going to be mid-20s, maybe a few flurries and flakes, but overall, a Christmas Day is looking pretty good right now. Of course, we'll have more details as we get closer heading into next week, but we are certainly focused in on our first alert weather day for this Thursday for the potential for wind for everybody, and some of us will see really intense winds. Especially in eastern North Dakota and the Northern Valley, and then the possibility for wind mixing in with snow and creating whiteout conditions, blizzard conditions potential for tomorrow. So stay tuned. We'll be back again in a little while, in a few hours, with an update from our evening crew. And of course, you can watch the newscast tonight. I'll be tracking this for you as it's moving through tomorrow morning on the Valley today. I'll be back here later in the morning with another live update. And you can always check the VNL weather app for the latest conditions as we're looking at this system, this next round of winter weather coming in. And this one's going to be a bit of a blast for us too as it moves through. So be prepared for that and stay safe over the course of the next 24 plus hours as this is moving through. In the meantime, enjoy this one mild day and just know that there's still going to be some wind out there today too if you're out and about. Have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you again back here Thursday morning.
There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800 Damage of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800 Damage of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-6